So how we doing, guys? We're actually this is kind of a special show for us. Gov will be out and he won't be with us on Friday. So I do have a end of show topic, a little fun topic, a little road trip kind of advice for Gov on his way out. So he'll miss Friday's show. He's trying to be back with us on Tuesday, so I appreciate the effort. But needless to say, we do have some off-season topics to talk about tonight. Some stuff that you think. So there's a lot of news going on in the off-season in the NFL. Everyone's excited. There's training camp stuff. There's actual news. There's contract stuff. How much of that stuff affects basketball? What should we do with it? Should we do anything? Is there a good time to draft? Is there a bad time? All of this kind of clouds up around DK's release of salaries that coming up. So everyone's really excited. So how do we not waste money? How do we bankroll manage? How do we take in the information and use it wisely? That's kind of the overall topics I wanted to talk about tonight. Evan, Donnie, Gov, how we doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah, doing pretty good.
Can't complain. Let's put us on the screen, Logan.
I can maybe do that.
No.
Depending on how much you want to pay me.
No, I don't want you to see.
Speaking of paying, though, we did have our first best ball draft, as people know. We took CD Lamb. Evan had news about CD potentially maybe holding out. Do you want to start there, Evan?
Yeah, so he's currently via Todd Archer with ESPN. He's not expected to report to training camp right now because he didn't get the contract extension that he was hoping for. The two sides have been talking, and no deal has been reached yet. And there is history behind this. We remember what happened with Ezekiel Elliott that made him the highest paid running back in the NFL at the time when he held out. So Jerry Jones tends to cave with top talent that hold out. I don't know if that's going to happen again for a third time because, like with anything else, it happens until it doesn't. If he ends up trading CeeDee Lamb, then I guess a lot of Cowboy fans are going to stop being Cowboy fans. But
I think he learned from his times of doing it because, like, he's done it to a wide receiver, and he's done it to a running back before, and I think he's learned, like, I can't do it for the running back. I think he'll end up getting the CD deal done.
It's also worth noting that it happened with their other guard, Zach Martin, too. He was the highest paid guard in the league too when he held out.
Yeah. That's what I don't understand about Jerry. He always caves. I mean, maybe the one time we could say he didn't cave is a Tony Pollard situation, but that just kind of felt like a mutual parting. I don't remember the last time they've let a guy go.
Well, Michael Gallup.
Yeah, but again, Michael Gallup, they still paid him a good chunk, and then, he just kind of fell out of the rotation.
And that's a different tier, too. I'll say...
Yeah.
I'll just say this, as it goes to our profile for drafting, whether that affects CD's positioning. I'm okay that we took him with the second overall spot. I think I would take him in the second overall spot again if we were drafting tonight. It's noteworthy. Like, if you're a CD Lamb owner and you have stock in him, you should definitely know the news. It should be on your bulletin board. But I don't think you're lighting anything on fire. I don't think you're panicking. I just don't. I think it's something to be aware of, but nothing that would affect his rise and fall right now. I got some guys on the screen that are falling in ADP. At this point, CD wouldn't be one of those guys for me. Would you affect your draft slot at all, Donnie?
Honestly, no. Like, especially in best ball, if he misses the first 4 weeks, fine. I'll stomach that, and I'll have possibly the best receiver in football for the next whatever.
Okay. The fact that he's going 1, 2, 3 makes it an actual conversation. Like, if he were my second round pick, I could see what you're saying. I don't know a scenario where I can eat my first round pick for 4 weeks on a team. Like, you better get a perfect team 6 rounds after you take CD if that's what you
that's the goal, isn't it?
I mean, yes, it's a goal, but it also never happens.
Yeah. Donnie's saying he's swinging for
outside. Look for the teams in a 12-man league. Maybe one.
I don't think he'll hold out like that, though.
I don't either. So like my thought process on it is, I think this is like smoke and mirrors. I think the deal will get done. I think he plays week 1 and everything's fine. And so I still take him 1, 2, 3 if he's on the board.
Right. And if it does happen, I'd hope my team's good enough where it doesn't drown because CeeDee Lamb isn't playing. Because if that's the case, I'm probably not winning anything anyway.
And I should mention, guys,
I don't even think about it as CeeDee Lamb, because you got to remember his ADP is like the number 1 overall pick with McCaffrey. So if you're losing that, like I could even see if he were going at the end of the first round. Mm-hmm. Like I could even see a scenario where you still have a solid team and you got Brees late and he goes down halfway through the year. Like I can still see scenarios there. I can't see it with the 1, 2, 3. That's why a lot of Jefferson teams just crap the bed if they weren't perfect last year when he just didn't have a career year. Like McCaffrey teams were there, but he had a career year.
DraftKings right now has CeeDee Lamb averaging number 3 for best ball.
So it's dropped from 1 spot.
Dropped 1 spot for Tyreek. But that's not a big deal to me right now because Tyreek and CeeDee are right there.
McCaffrey, Tyreek, CeeDee, just pick one of them and see which one drops.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I would actually bring up Justin Jefferson because I really don't buy into the Sam Darnold, J.J. McCarthy thing being a problem no matter what quarterback starts. I think McConnell, he's going to want to throw the ball. Justin Jefferson's going to get average of 12 targets a game. Justin Jefferson is the guy I want after CeeDee Lamb, but that's probably semantic.
And when you got the fallers on here, I don't think Addison should be falling that much. Like he is still going to be the number 2 receiver.
I agree with that. That's almost
some of these guys who are falling, I just don't get why they're falling.
He basically hasn't fallen 41, 42. Like that's the
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these guys really didn't fall that much. Now, let's see.
Like Mike Williams is weird
falling by that much. Mike Williams falling a half a round is probably warranted. Eventually, all the Jets will fall, and then you'll take Jets.
And this is courtesy of Chip Chasing's ADP risers too. Sam Sherman does a really good job, also with Pat Kerrane as well, one of the $1 million winners. Speaking of $1 million in best ball, I should mention we actually won a ticket. I won the ticket through the DraftKings contest. So one of the contests we bring to you at the end of the year will be the Millie contest. We'll stream that like we normally do, and so we have that set aside. So we'll add that to the portfolio of teams we're going to review this season. Donnie was in?
Yeah, no. Another thing, I guess Mike Williams would be dropping because of something that's very overblown in the Aaron Rodgers not attending mandatory minicamp. I'm sorry. Like Brady didn't go to mandatory minicamp for the last couple of years of his career.
Another thing I give 2 shits about.
Right, like why are we making a big deal? Because
Rodgers
Aaron
not going to training camp.
Like,
well,
is he doing ayahuasca in the building? That's what I'm worried about. All right, not if he doesn't show up to training camp.
And he went to the rookie mini camp, like he met his new teammates and everything. He's practiced with the team. So if he wants to take a week off at 40 years old, he doesn't need it.
If anybody is acting like that's a reason why Mike Williams is falling, they're just being goofy because Mike Williams is on the pup right now. So he's at 136 overall in DraftKings best ball, according to
And
ADP.
most likely that's why he's falling. I think if you're going to take Mike Williams, this is the time you take him because his value is pretty low, and you're already a believer, or you're one of those guys that just never believes that Mike Williams is going to stay healthy, and you think this is kind of where he's meant to be. Like, I think if you like him, it's like a good time to draft him. If you don't like him and you never wanted him in the first place, you're like, well, this is where he always belonged, way down the list.
Mike Williams right now is on a 1-year, $10 million contract with the Jets, meaning that they're not heavily invested in him, but they're paying him enough to where they're going to want to get him targets this year.
Yeah.
And that was the point, guys. We've been getting a lot of good feedback recently about our DraftKings coverage for best ball because a lot of people are doing best balls on Underdog and it's getting a lot more publicity. And that kind of room is a lot different opposed to a more casual room, and the structure is different. On DraftKings, it's a point per reception, where on Underdog, it's half point, which changes the rankings and everything. So everyone's liking our review. So that was the idea with this show. It's like, here's all this news that's swirling around. What stuff is actually important? So speaking of that, is there anything that's actually that you're hearing that actually has you excited, or you think could actually positively influence the way you would draft?
Um, I do believe like the JJ McCarthy being not needing to earn the job and the Drake May needing to earn the job. I don't think they'll be day one starters. So if you are drafting them, I wouldn't draft them too high. I expect them to take the job. I can't imagine Sam Darnold stays the start of the year around, and I think it's more realistic that a Jacoby Brissett would, but I don't see that either. Uh,
In your vanilla redraft leagues, the rookie quarterbacks who are not expected to start right away are sometimes sometimes taken way too high in ADP, depending on who's in your league and who wants to reach for them. And that's your advantage if you want to take advantage of that if they reach on them. But I mean, if it's a one quarterback league, you don't have to worry about it. Rookie quarterbacks typically need a couple of years to get good anyway.
Correct. I'm already high on Justin Jefferson, so the Vikings news does have me a bit excited. I already mentioned O'Connell as well. He seems to want to throw the ball around a lot. But to Donnie's point, both Sam Darnold and JJ have a bit of mobility and the ability to move around. So I think if you like this offense, I don't think the quarterback really affects it too much because you can get both of them really late. I do think you might have to decide which one, in which case I would lean JJ just because I do believe the Vikings have a fifth or a week 5 bye, so that just seems like a perfect time to insert a rookie right after a bye week.
I agree.
Coming in, in the 5th week, that just seems like ideal. And then as late as he's been going ADP wise, I think he could be a good value as long as he doesn't skyrocket up the board, which I don't expect.
I just want to point out, you said something about how you think the Vikings want to I don't think the Vikings really want to throw the football that much. They paid Aaron Jones for a reason. The reason why they've been throwing so much is because last year they couldn't defend a single team. If they were going to win, they were going to have to score almost 40 points every time. That's not sustainable throughout a season.
Playing from behind.
Now.
Yeah, and playing from behind, you're going to want to hit your Justin Jeffersons, your TJ Hawkinsons, and your Jordan Addisons. And to do it, they extended Christian Darrisaw to a big 4-year extension who plays, I think he's the left tackle for the Vikings. Yes. And I think he's the only talent on the Vikings offensive line as far as I'm concerned.
And again, to mention, go ahead.
Just noticing what you put on the screen. I got to start drafting.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to get Chubb cheap anymore.
Yeah, Chubb is.
I need a cheap Chubb.
Chubb is definitely the outlier on this list. He is the one skyrocketing up.
I think Tavian Wicks is also going up a bit too because Jaden Daniels is starting on the pup. I think that's a bit of an overreaction because Jaden Reed is expected to practice. I think I accidentally said Jaden Daniels earlier. My apologies.
I was about to say, how does Washington affect this?
Yeah. But yeah, Jaden Reed is expected to come off the pup pretty soon. I don't have an exact date, but he's not expected to be out for long.
Well, a lot of the pundits that talk fantasy football, and especially that are pumping a lot of the drafts, especially on Underdog with the puppies and those kind of things, are really talking up Wicks right now. So I think that has a good deal to do with it. Sometimes when a show gets popular, like a pop culture kind of show gets popular, that's when you kind of see the influx of people paying attention. I think that's what's happening with best ball right now. A lot of the drafting people that stream their drafts on YouTube, a lot of the more popular audiences, they're taking Wicks because of what you mentioned. Reed on the pup, it just makes sense.
Christian Watson.
So, but I'm with Gov though. I still would take Chubb where he is, but he's just not the value he was.
Yeah, he was an extreme value early on, but that's why you do an early draft. Like those are the values that, like, if we assume what is basically coming to fruition early, then this is what happens. Like, correct. Now everyone's seeing, Chubb looks fine in OTAs. He seems to be on track. Everything looks good. So now he's going to start rising in ADP.
Yeah, I mean, he was the 10th rounder. If you really tried to stretch it, you could get him 10th, maybe 11th round. Now he's up to probably about the 9th, which, I mean, he still probably should be going higher than that. I've been drafting him in at least 9, sometimes 8.
If he's like looking good in August in preseason training camp, he'll start going 6th round. He'll start being in that second tier of running backs that go.
And that's still
that
just
next
because of
rate when they have
uncertainty.
runs.
Like if I don't remember where we drafted Chubb last year, but it was high where he was being put.
Last year we had to take him in like the first 2 or 3 rounds as like
Right.
where we're taking Henry, where we're taking ETN, like if not, or maybe even where we were taking Taylor. Like I think last year I was really happy if I could get Chubb at the turn on the 1-2. Like, could I get a receiver and Chubb as the 1-2 turn?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And I think last year, if I'm not mistaken, he went as late as the 3rd round, just before our pick last year, and we were hoping to get him, and he didn't fall. And that was like we were shocked at that value, and now to get him as late as we have.
If Chubb falls to us here,
like if I could get him in the 7th round in late August, I'm still probably taking him, and I feel like I've put so much stock into him.
Like maybe I went heavy wide receiver like some of the people we've seen. That still means I'm probably getting Chubb as my RB2 at worst.
Right. I mean, maybe we're putting too much stock into him, but his value is just so high there. I don't see a world where
he's the guy that makes me think I could go like 6 straight wide receivers and then take Chubb and then fill out my lineup.
And that's where I was going to go.
Maybe that could work.
No matter
if I'm taking Chubb in either a redraft league or even best ball, I am going to go grab Jerome Ford in a later round with him just for the insurance, because we don't know how good Chubb is going to look, and we don't know what Ford's role will be as a complementary backup to him. I'm not concerned about I should know the 3rd running back's name on the Browns, and I'm forgetting it for some reason. He played on the Bears last year. I should know this. Slipping my mind tonight.
Wait, did they sign Herbert or
is it Foreman?
I think
so. Yeah, it's Deontay Foreman.
Oh, the former Panther, yes.
Yeah, I don't think anything of the Foreman signing, but if I'm going to grab Chubb, I'm going to grab Foreman too. Excuse me. Here we go again with the Floridian slips.
Ford, man.
Jerome Ford.
You're going to grab Jerome, not Deontay. Let's
do the opposite.
Lose first names here. We're friends with both of these guys. They're Bears and Panthers quarterbacks. My dad's a Browns fan. We're friends with these guys. You can call them by their first name.
I get that theory though, Evan, but I would go opposite, where if I'm going to take Chubb, I'm taking the upside on Chubb. So I'm going to take him like he's going to be the starter. So the only way I would take Ford is if I didn't believe in Chubb. So like if I wanted to fade Chubb's upside or his production, then I would take Ford. But I wouldn't have both running backs on my roster.
See, it's weird for me because like in a normal redraft league, yeah, I would say late round target one of the 2 backups for Chubb. In best ball, I normally don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But Cleveland is also going to run the ball so heavily, I could see value. Like if I didn't take Chubb, I would see late round value in a Cleveland guy anyway. It's possible. Like if they're there 18th round, last 2 or 3 picks, yeah, of course. I'll take a 5th running back and just double up on the Cleveland backfield. But like I'm not going to say like as soon as I draft Chubb, I need that. I wouldn't say that. Well, but I definitely weight it much. Yeah, if the draft comes and it's like, well, there's just no reason to take him. Like if I can take this guy, and then even if Chubb goes down, I don't get the Cleveland backfield. No one probably will because he's not being drafted, and I still have 4 other good running backs or whatever.
Right.
And I think the only wrong way to draft is not to have a plan. I really do believe that. No matter if you have kind of this fun idea where you just want to like have the wildest takes and take some upside shots, and you want to draft rookies and like you want to really swing, for home runs. If that's your strategy, if you want to go 0 RB where you basically load up on wide receivers, as long as you're following some kind of structure and some kind of strategy, then I think that you're in good hands because you're getting guys you want. You're doing it with a philosophy and a thought process. The problem is when people just think like, oh, I can go in and spend an hour and I'll just do this willy-nilly. That'd be like setting a DraftKings lineup with 20 minutes before the contest. I just don't think that's a good way to go about it at all. I think that's a good way to donate your money, personally.
I missed out on some of the Browns conversation, but let's not forget my favorite running back in that room. Nyheim Hines is there. The love will never die.
If he gets off the bench and plays special teams.
Touche.
I don't care.
Yes.
Well,
the love will never die for Nyheim Hines.
He's clearly the receiving back until they re-sign Kareem Hunt again.
Donnie, our community already knows this, but we already covered the UFL better than most people, so we'll have plenty of time to talk about Hines maybe then. But as far as the NFL goes, I don't think he's relevant.
Oh, I don't know if that was a burn or not. I'm not sure.
I
Oh.
definitely think he'll be on an NFL roster for another couple years before he gets balls in. He's a very good special teamer as long as he stays healthy. He's got.
I was about to say, as long as his leg holds out, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
I have a theory on why Curtis Samuel is moving up a bit in ADP. The Bills OC Joe Brady said they're gonna. He came out and said that Curtis Samuel is also going to he's going to start becoming used at running back, and because if he's getting carries at the same time targets, I think there might be some emotional buy-in, and that's why we're starting to see more Curtis Samuel. In addition to fearing that Keon Coleman might not be good.
I mean, while we're on the topic,
I have no fear.
That
I
was
have
supposed
trust.
to be Hines' role last year, and he just
Right.
got hurt.
Speaking of Hines, yes, you're right.
It was the role. Now, they wanted that role for Hines, as Donnie mentioned. So like, I've heard the same rumors, but this is kind of the point in the offseason where you hear the kind of fun, creative rumors. How much do you actually believe it as a buy-in? Do you think it happens? And then does it happen enough where you would consider it as a viable, like, last round kind of best ball thing? Do you think it's like a sneaky, DK lineup construction, like anything like that? I don't buy it at all.
He's already getting drafted so high. I mean,
That's not even how they're going to use it. This guy's a cop. This coach is more of a copycat. He's not going to be used like a running back. He's going to be used like a back, but like he's going to be in Tyreek Hill formations.
Right.
They want James Cook to do that. James Cook was the passing back his rookie year. Like that's what they want from him, is to take on more of a role, a more Andre role that has passing and rushing, something like that. Curtis Samuel's just going to add on to that.
And Cook did finish as the RB12 last year, doing both.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he was propelled into a situation where everyone else kind of wasn't performing or got hurt in that room. So he was forced to do something. I think it's just at most going to be a couple times he'll be back there instead of.
Right.
Yeah, I could see an extra couple jet sweeps, or like I also think like a lot of teams will have studied what Miami did, and if they have a shifty receiver who can be in motion and then quickly catch a screen pass right off the tight end's ass, like Tyreek Hill did all fucking last year, then they'll have it done. If they can have a tiny guy who can kneel and then quickly jump and grab, like fucking Tyreek was doing.
Yeah,
like they're going to watch the tape.
It's going to be prominent, but it's just going to be, it's eventually a gadget play. And if you I don't think they signed Curtis Samuel to be a gadget player, but if he could be
coming from the team that drafted him, like he's kind of a gadget player.
Kind of, but they're so desperate at receiver.
He's a gadget player that can also be a really good slot guy.
Right.
Okay.
But
like he'll be a great possession, short yardage, and he can do all the gadget stuff. So he'll be very useful in an offense. But what Buffalo needs is to replace a fucking outside deep threat with Diggs and Gabe. Both of them are gone. They don't have Diggs or Gabe Davis. They have no outside deep threat of any kind. Not a good or a great one.
Yeah.
So I believe
in Coleman. So
I believe
they have the rookie and freaking Kincaid. Like they're going to be very checky downy running. Like
we were the lowest on Coleman, so we seem to have gotten that right. If you were going to give an off-season grade, I know Evan was the highest, I think, of anyone of us ranking Cook, and I think a lot of it had to do with you believe that Cook could be a reception kind of monster out of the backfield for the Bills, or at least involved in the offense. I think it's fair to say.
Well, when I was high on James Cook, I wasn't thinking in terms of just being a receiving back. They gave him 237 carries on the ground last year, and he finished with 1,122 yards. They want him to be the guy in the backfield.
Agree.
Well, just to close that loop, so after we were drafting, basically a lot of Kincaid love came in, saying like, "Oh, Coleman's kind of been phased out as like he might need some work in the pass block or the run blocking game. They don't know if they can trust his route tree." So Kincaid is now considered like the number one target guy there. I don't think I would like Kincaid going up. I think he was being drafted where he was, and now the news he might be being overdrafted. I would probably move up Cook with the idea he might have more of a Elvin Kamara like role. But
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I mean, I assume they're going to spend most of their offense in a variation of an 11 personnel because they have Knox still. Which,
right.
no matter what you think, he's better than some of their receiving options.
Sadly.
I mean, and I don't think Knox is a bad tight end. It's just, he's fallen out.
He's a solid tight end. I don't want to use him as a receiver, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point, though. But they're going to be stuck doing that this year.
We were lower on.
And the Bills are taking shots on certain wide receivers like Khalil Shakur, MVS, Chase Claypool, Mac Hollins, and even KJ Hamler. So I don't know who's going to survive training camp, but they're going to take their shots on some of these lesser names.
Right. Is there going to be like a guy specifically in the wide receiver room you think will make a jump? Because obviously we know it's not going to be MVS. He already had that opportunity with Kansas City. He didn't make it. Is there any other guy that you think could make the jump? Or
I think that's hard to say right now because KJ Hamler has been hit with the injury bug. Andy Isabella was a second-round pick by the Cardinals who didn't pan out. I don't think it's going to be him. I mean, if Chase Claypool cleans up his attitude, I think it could be him because I'm not a big fan of Marcus Valdes-Scantling. He's just kind of getting up there in age. And Mac Hollins was solid with the Falcons. So I'd be watching Claypool and Hollins.
I think it's Coleman, but I don't want to, like, where he's being drafted, I don't want any of him. I think Coleman's clearly the guy after Kincaid, but I still think he's being drafted too highly. So
this is making me want to, like, maybe I grab James Cook, third, fourth round where he's going, but I might stay far away. Well, do you think Josh Allen will have to run more?
Yes.
He has to because they're going to be
So maybe he has a Lamar Jackson floor and actually should be the number one wide receiver off the board solidly.
Josh Allen has not had a season where he's been below 100 rushing attempts except his rookie year, and that was out of 12 games. So he's played full seasons ever since his sophomore year, and he will take a minimum of 100 rushing attempts.
And that's why I want to fade him because I think the injury.
Why fade him?
It's funny how like Josh Allen is like the one. Him and even Lamar Jackson. I'd love to get Andrews or Flowers or one of his receivers with him. Josh Allen might be the one quarterback I wouldn't want to stack.
And he's been the QB1 for the last 3 out of 4 years.
My issue with Allen is he doesn't avoid hits. He's going to take a hit almost every time. And that's not sustainable.
Yeah,
even if he plays all the game.
This is about that time where Cam started breaking down.
Right.
He doesn't mitigate contact, and there's going to be more relied on him. Now you're right, the upside's there. I think DraftKings, for example, has his rushing touchdown total at 9.5.
Which is very easy. Like I think he probably does hit 9, at least 9, if he plays every game. But
I think I have to disagree with the Cam comparison. Cam was not as durable as Josh Allen has been so far.
Yeah, Josh has had a lot of nagging injuries.
And he's been
Josh
playing
has gotten
through them.
Yeah, but Cam did too until he didn't. Remember, Cam had the truck accident at the beginning of the year before his MVP season. So and didn't miss any games because of that. He didn't start missing games till I think year 7 when he got the shoulder injury. And that came with also a back injury. And that took him out for 2 years, and that basically ended his career. I feel like Josh Allen is at that 7-8 year mark in his career.
Well, I beg to differ. I think it was the Lisfranc injury he had that really killed his career. Lisfranc is really hard to come back from.
Yeah, it is very hard. Yeah,
But these are
but
the
like that
reasons.
was the start of his that was definitely the start of his injuries that really started nagging on him. Didn't really start on Cam till like year 7.
Yeah, Cam was
honest.
29 when it started, which, I mean, that was the end of the season. We just didn't know he would come back the same ever again.
And see, that's why I want to be out on Allen, is because you have to buy him at such a peak right now. You're not getting any value. You have to take him as the number one guy. A lot of drafts, he's going ahead of Patrick Mahomes. And so, like, if there was a slide on his ADP, if there was any sort of like guaranteed floor in his game, that I would be able to take it. But if I want to buy the Bills and Josh Allen, I have to take Allen so high. So then you'd almost want to say, well, you have to believe in that offense, and I don't want to stack him with anyone, to Gov's point. So for me, I'm just out unless his ADP falls.
I'll absolutely stack him with Kincaid.
That'd be I'd stack him with Cook.
I'd even stack him. Yeah, I was about to say I'd even stack him. Just get him and Cook, and just hope you have the entire offense for Buffalo. But what will Buffalo do this year? Like, I do think, like, thinking about it, it's like if I believe Josh Allen stays healthy all year, then he definitely is the number one quarterback. And there's his floor and ceiling merits him like being that like take at the end of the second round, third round guy, instead of like fourth round where all the quarterbacks seem to be going.
I just don't know how a guy like Allen repeats a year. He had 15 rushing touchdowns last year. That's insane.
Well, again, you had another year where, like, yes, he had Diggs and Davis. Like, that offense was clicking. When they were Diggs and Davis had bad years, but Buffalo was still in games because Josh Allen was getting shit done.
But that's the thing. You're taking so many hits when you're doing
running. That's true.
Like again, Mahomes, he wasn't taking hits. I watched
Cam take all those hits. I knew he was going to wear down at some point. No one is Superman.
I'm still hesitant to make the Cam Newton comparison, though, because the Bills are a different team.
Their games have been.
It's been their whole career.
Like they're very similar, and like I do think it's pretty. The guy in charge of Buffalo was the dude in charge of Carolina when we drafted Cam and built the team, and then he moved to Buffalo and drafted Josh Allen and built the team.
And what happened with Cam there? The talent started to decrease as time went on, and then Cam.
Yeah, when the guy left and started building it in Buffalo. Like, yeah, the peak of our team was probably the year after he left when Cam had his MVP season.
And the receivers weren't good then. The offensive weapons were not good.
My offensive weapons in Carolina were never good. Like, even that year, our best weapon went down in training camp, Kelvin Benjamin, with a knee injury. So our two best weapons all year were Ted Ginn Jr. and the last good year of Greg Olsen.
Wait, it wasn't Devin Funchess?
No.
I don't count him as number 2. I would say the last decent year of Olsen was. But yeah, it could have been bunch of Funchess.
Which sounds a lot like Coleman and Kincaid this year, I'll just say.
It could be. It could be a lot like Coleman and Kincaid. So, like, there are definitely upside. And, like, that was an MVP season for Cam.
Who was the Panthers fullback that year that got a bunch of attention?
Mike Tolbert.
Mike Tolbert, yeah.
Yeah, we had Mike Tolbert. We had the running game from hell with Cam Newton, Mike Tolbert, D'Angelo Williams, and Jonathan Stewart.
Well, that's the thing is, I'm not arguing that Allen shouldn't be the number one quarterback. What I'm saying is it's marginal. It's marginable, the difference between him and Patrick Mahomes. And I think Mahomes is a lot easier to stack with. There's cheaper bringbacks. You know, you can get Worthy. You have to make a decision on Rice. Like, there's a lot of more fun stuff you can do with that Kansas City offense when you have to take a high upside on Allen and then you have to almost pair him because of the belief in the Bills are going to put up points. I want to stay away from Allen.
Do you want to pull up the comment just to get on to Jay's point as well, Double J's point?
Okay, what did Double J say? I'm kind of scared to bring up the comment.
It's on Buffalo, yeah. I mean, it's kind of the point we're making. I don't know what to expect from this Bills offense, and just outside of just Cook is getting the ball, Allen is going to try and Superman it, and Kincaid will get a lot of touches. Probably.
And like that could mean he ends up having one of those MVP seasons if his receivers do anything. But like personally, of the top quarterbacks, as much as I hate it, I think Lamar is my favorite of like the top 4 guys to take.
That's shocking to hear from you, Gov.
Yeah, it
I'm the same
100% is, and I'm glad Double J's thing is covering my face because I don't need people seeing me say that. Like, oh
We'll say
God.
we used an AI voice for it. It's all right.
There you go.
I never said that. You all
Look,
but fake news.
So I have another theory about Isaiah Pacheco, if we could get off the Bills for a moment. I think his ADP is starting to go up because of the reports that Kadarius Toney is beginning to be used as a running back in this training camp. And if you have a Butterfingers wide receiver starting to take running back carries, that probably means to people that they don't have any good depth that they have confidence in behind Pacheco. And I think that's increasing his value.
You guys have always had. What do you mean? You have Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Well, they loved using Jerick McKinnon too, but I don't even know if he's still there.
He's aged so much. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I'd be shocked if he makes the roster.
Yeah, and there's rumor that Deneric Prince is ahead of him right now. Who? Exactly.
it's just
Yeah, that guy.
it shows you how quick though the ADPs do change in these best balls because just the first week that they released the contest, CH was going in the 18th round, and now we're not even sure he'll make the team. It's just weird.
It looks like Jerick McKinnon is a free agent again.
Yep,
Yes,
which
he
is
is.
what happened. They have Helaire, they have Pacheco, they have a few other guys. Let's see, a couple rookies.
But Jerick McKinnon didn't get signed till late last year.
Yeah,
like he might just be saying, "I'm not going to sign till after training camp and stuff."
Yeah, it's not like he's a highly sought free agent in the first place. He's 32. He's got 10 seasons under his belt. Well, kind of.
But he just knows the system. He's had a good career. If Kansas City wants him back and he wants to take a minimum deal, he'll do it. If not, he probably will just ride off into the sunset.
They'll bring him back for the Super Bowl, and he'll be Super Bowl MVP somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Playoff run. He gets the OBJ treatment.
Hey, the best playoff run I've ever seen a player do like that was definitely Eric Weddle when he came out of retirement that one and had the weirdest, greatest playoff run I've ever seen a safety have.
Speaking of Odell Beckham, he's already on the PUP list.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I mean, the risk with signing OBJ.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go to some off-season news. I think actually is relevant. I like the idea. I mean, sorry, Odell. Just come on. That's.
No, it's like I was.
He's wide receiver number 3, Logan.
I actually want to know, like, what I'm like with me saying Lamar. I kind of want to ask you guys before you move on, Logan. What's your favorite quarterback that you would try to stack in best ball? Because, like, I love the upside of Lamar, and in the off chance that I don't stack him, I still think I'm really good with Lamar.
Yeah. I like Lamar because Henry has been saying for years he wanted to be more of a pass-catching running back. So whether you think he can or not, I think the idea that he wants to try that role is encouraging. I do think adding a weapon is important. But my favorite wide receiver is Rashad Bateman late in draft. So I like the idea of getting a Lamar and then stacking him with Bateman late.
Yeah, that's something I definitely got as well. I don't know why we won't give up on Bateman, but we continue it, Logan. So why not?
And it's not even so much.
You guys got another quarterback that you like? Because like, if I don't usually take a quarterback early. So like, I don't. The few drafts I've done, I don't have Lamar.
Yeah.
I think the only one I have a top quarterback in is Jalen Hurts, and that's because I had AJ Brown. Like I kind of set it up. It's like I fell in the draft where my first 2 picks were AJ Brown and Saquon Barkley.
I mean, I like my.
So I kind of just
Jordan
took
Loves.
Jalen Hurts in the 3rd when it was there.
Right. I like the Jordan Loves of the world as a fantasy quarterback. I don't feel like he has a low floor, and he can have a couple ceiling games here and there. That's where I'm targeting most of my guys.
My lowest my biggest value target would be Bo Nix with Franklin. I think that's a great late round pick. You can pair them, almost in any best ball. They're going super late.
Stafford as well.
Yeah, but Stafford, you have to get one of Puka or Cup.
Well, if
ideally,
they fall to you though. I mean, which it's not hard to get Cup in the late second.
If we are in a best ball league, based on things that we've seen so far this year, I'm going after the Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb combo, even with the news of the holdout, because that's going to take a lot of ADP.
If I get 1, 2, 3 and get CeeDee Lamb, I'll be taking Dak. If I got to jump around on his ADP, I'll make sure I get Dak.
Or if you get
and then I don't. And then again, after that, if I do like a Bo Nix Franklin, or even grab like a Bryce Young and a Leggett or something late, like that's fine.
Well, and if you get Jefferson in like pick 7, I'm definitely gonna try and get McCarthy at the end of the draft. But
and
it
Sam
kind of
Darnold?
depends on. No. I'll just swing for the fences with McCarthy.
So
that's what I did with Bo Nix.
I know you like Dak, and I agree, Evan. Dak's underutilized quarterback in terms of all fantasy formats. I think people
would you still take Dak if you didn't get Lamb?
That was my question.
I would, yes.
You could pair him with other guys in the offense.
That's true. You could still grab a Cooks. You could still grab a Ferguson. I think Ferguson would be my favorite. I think I always default to the tight end.
Yeah.
Unless there's a really good like Minnesota's the one where like even if you don't get Jefferson, if you grab Addison, I wouldn't mind taking a shot on McCain or on McCarthy.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I've said this before. I don't get the hate on Prescott because when he's healthy, he's elite.
Yeah,
he is. The only thing is
I'm with you. Like he should be in the top 5 range. Like, I think he has more of a pedigree to say that he should be the 5th receiver because like we all agree, Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, and then probably who am I missing? See, I think Stroud and Dak are the ones fighting for 5th. There was another Hurts, Jalen Hurts. I think those are your top 4.
I'm low
and
on
then
Hurts.
It's Dak and Stroud fighting for 5th. And I think Dak has the better resume for it, but everyone loves Stroud after last year.
Here's the problem I have with Stroud. I have no problem, like, if you wanted to believe that Texans offense. Here's what I find so strange is Stroud seems to be everyone's like darling right now, but no one wants to take Diggs. I don't get that. Diggs is falling.
Yeah, Diggs is falling. Dell is falling.
But
if you're not taking Diggs and you're not taking Tank, what you want to take Stroud and build him through Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz?
That's what everyone seems to be doing right now.
Having Stroud and Joe Mixon? Like, what is this? What people are doing? I'm not sure that's a smart way to go.
See, Gov, that's what I mean. Like the love on CJ Stroud is going up, and then Diggs is falling. So I think you're right. People are just like all in on this CJ Stroud train with Collins, but it's like, but then why is Diggs falling? That makes no sense.
I've never gotten the Collins hype. He's had 1 year, man. Like I've seen a lot of Collins play in the NFL. He's had 1 year.
He is a solid guy to play off of guys doing shit.
He's the third. He's the third option in that offense
because Tank and everyone was doing so well. Like the guys that people actually game plan for were being covered, and that left Nico open in games.
Right. That's how I feel. I don't think Collins has gotten significantly better where he's in that echelon of receiver.
I disagree with that. I think Collins is not top. I don't think he's elite by any definition, but Collins has shown that when he's on the field for 70 to 80% of the time and he gets 9 targets, he will dominate with them because you have to remember in his rookie year and sophomore year, he had Davis Mills throwing to him, and that offense was a mess.
That's true. Like he is a much better receiver than people think.
Yes.
I think he's a fine receiver. I put him in like the Jalen Waddle tier, the Rashee Rice tier.
Well, Rashee Rice I'd put him with, but I think Waddle's much better than those guys.
Talent-wise, yes, but I think it's safe to say Nico Collins won't finish wide receiver 12 again.
Right. I think he's more of a wide receiver like 20.
Yeah, I think honestly, if everyone stays healthy, he probably finishes around like wide receiver 20. But you got to remember, like guys on that Texans offense got hurt, missed games. But the reason like they look so good this year is that they've added to that, and so now you have more weapons. So hopefully they can stay healthy, or you can rotate them and whatever, or you still have weapons at the end of the year for Stroud. Whereas Dallas hasn't really had anything. I think that's the big knock. Like, even though Dak has the pedigree, their offense looks worse.
And that's a good question that Double J brought up here. Do the Texans start to run the ball more now that they got Joe Mixon instead of Devin Singletary?
See, I like that idea of just like grabbing Mixon. I don't even need Stroud.
Yeah.
I don't.
I
the
think
only
that's
problem
a
is
smart choice.
if you take Joe Mixon, you have to donate some of that money.
Yeah, and there's nobody really behind Mixon that's a threat between like Damian Pierce, Dario Gumbawale, and whoever the fuck else makes the roster. If Cam Akers even makes the cut.
That
See,
is
but
right.
that's why-
Cam Akers might be the backup this season. Might.
I want a team that's going to score a lot of points and has a chance to be really efficient, and I think that is the Texans. I think Joe Mixon is the safest and most efficient way to get a piece of that offense. Because again, I like CJ Stroud, but I just don't like his price. And like that's where I think all people have been giving a lot of praise for talking DraftKings and talking like best ball strategy, and it's all about your average draft position because all these guys have the upside or the you could make a case for them, having a successful season, but it's where you got to take them. Josh Allen, for example, again, is my number one quarterback. I just don't know if I want to take him as the number one guy where he has to go.
Yeah, I mean, another thing with Dak is like we hated him a lot. Well, not us because we get how good he is, but even in his playoff games, for the most part, he's performed. Like one game he lost was because of a terrible, weird running back play call with I don't even know what was happening there, or the QB draw. Sorry, which there's
Was that when Zeke was playing center?
Yes. I mean, then you had the other time early on in his career when Aaron Rodgers had some heroic at the end, like that happens. Whatever. He hasn't not been a playoff performer. It's just the coaching has been bad, or the defense has held up their end. So I never understood the Dak stuff outside of the fact that he just plays for Dallas.
See, and I think we can agree on that. Like, it's weird that we even have it. Like, in my mind, Stroud should be just like at the start of that next tier of guys. Like, it should be Dak 5 and then a clear gap before you go Stroud, Lawrence, Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
Like that next tier of quarterbacks that you would that next tier of quarterbacks you'd be stacked.
Dov, I think that's a very good point. I think that's the thing that people don't give enough credit to. It's not that like we have to disagree who is the better tier. Allen, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. It's the drop off. It's the fact that you can have gaps in between your tier breaks, and that's where people don't give enough credit.
And it's really weird thinking about it because like. If I think about it that way and I'm like, okay, so Stroud's just the top of that next tier, then he's getting overvalued in drafts where I don't want to take him.
Mm-hmm.
But all of his receivers, as we've talked about, are just not going. Like, no one wants to take Diggs. No one wants to take Tank. No one wants to take Nico. Like,
I mean, how different outside of the fact that Stroud should have a running game this year. How different is Stafford's situation to Stroud's situation? Outside of just, the Texans will run it. That's why
Kyron got so much work on both ends. Like that's one of the offenses. Like if I get McCaffrey, I'm thinking about stacking him with Purdy. If I get Kyron, I'm thinking about stacking him with Stafford.
Right.
Like Kyron's probably like I said earlier, if you really want one of Kupp or Puka, but really, if you could just get two of Puka Kyron, I think you need to get Stafford in a draft.
Yeah, no, I'm just taking my poor man Stroud. If I believe in the Texans offense, then I definitely should believe in the Rams offense.
Agreed.
I agree with that.
Like I think you're right there on that, yeah.
And Donnie's making a good point. He's not saying that CJ and Stafford are the same. What he's saying is, for the ADP, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, you're saying the ADP that CJ is not worth where he's going compared to where Stafford.
Yeah, I'll take the great value brand.
Right, you'll take the value brand. Right.
Yeah,
knowing that you still have to invest like a top pick for the stack, because like you're going to either need to take Puka in the first round,
right,
up in the second or third, or Kyron in I think he even goes second, third.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have to invest either a first or a second round pick in the stack if you really want Stafford to work out. Whereas Stroud, you're going to need to take in that fourth round when all those quarterbacks start to go. But no one's taking the receivers, and you can get any one of Diggs or Nico or Tank in like the 8th or 9th.
And at least I'm doubling down on my first or second round pick.
Or 7th. Sorry.
Like, if I'm gonna invest into the first round a receiver, I hope I can double down on that belief with a quarterback.
But all this is to say we don't have to be right or wrong. We're trying to be educational to give people a different perspective. Evan, I think, had a kind of pushback narrative to that. Evan, so you wanted to say, like, you're a bigger believer in CJ Stroud, correct?
I'm definitely a bigger believer in CJ Stroud, and that's probably not necessarily because of arm talent, but more or less because the offense looks better than what the Rams have right now. The Rams have the luxury of Puka Nacua busting out and being an elite wide receiver, and then you got Cooper Kupp, and then Kyren Williams. I don't know how much longer he's going to last because running backs with his build don't tend to last long in the NFL. They drafted Blake Corum to take some, assumingly some receiving work out of the backfield behind Kyren. I just like the pieces that Houston has better.
I will say quickly on that point, I think it was Tuesday. Now, McVay comes out and says a lot, so you can believe this or not. He did say he wanted Corum and Williams to have a 50-50 split.
Which makes sense. They don't want to ruin Kyren.
I don't believe it. I think Kyron's going to get.
I believe it early on, but when the season matters more, it will definitely go more 75.
I was about to say, like, if it's like last year, like, yeah, a game or two early, and then when it needs to happen, someone just gets 80%.
I'm not sure that Kyron's going to get that again, but we'll have to see by preseason.
I don't know.
Like, if he comes out and looks like a really good wide, if Kyron comes out and looks like just sub McCaffrey, like he did last year when he was healthy, like, yeah, he'll probably just start getting.
The Rams won't play anyone preseason, Evan. The Rams don't believe in it.
It's true. The Rams.
Well, they'll give him some snaps, but he's not going to play like a whole quarter.
I'd be shocked if they.
No.
He'll get the customary like 1 or 2 series in game 2.
I don't even know if that will happen.
No,
McVay's very extreme with it.
McVay's like me.
And Puka will play like 1 series down the field in game 2, since there's only or game 3 because there's 3, right?
Yeah.
By the way,
the final one he'll play 1 series, not 1 quarter. Some teams will have their starters play 1 quarter. They're going to play 1 series.
I do agree. I do agree with McVay though. I do not like it where any one of my starters plays the preseason. Hell with that shit. I don't play
if you're above
the age of 25, games for all my rookies and dumb fucks that I'm trying to get in. All my dumb ducks I'm trying to get into line.
I want to figure out who deserves that spot at the end of my bench in case of emergency. I know my starter most of the time.
Yeah. That's the time for Stetson Bennett to prove that he can actually make the league. Not
is Stetson Bennett still like gonna be? Is he gonna play this year? Or...
Yeah.
He came back.
He did. That's good.
Yeah, 2 months ago he was out with an illness, but he's listed as the QB3 behind Garoppolo.
Well, Stetson Bennett he had personal issues that he took the whole year off last year.
That's right. Yes.
They sent him away and said, this is best for you, and we will hold your spot.
Yeah, he came out, I think it was a couple weeks ago, said it was mental health related. Also said that he got the okay from McVay, and he's ready to go now. He said the pressure in college, given it was almost like a professional offense, he just felt a lot of pressure and needed some time away. Obviously, I hope he does get his chance, but I mean, that's just
he's old now, man.
He's 26.
He's
getting there for never played a single preseason snap, I don't think.
Which is funny because I think he's the same age as Bo Nix. So I mean, that should tell you something. My last news, though, I thought was relevant was Tua lost about 25 pounds, basically taking some of the blame, at least reading between the tea leaves, basically wanted to be more mobile, thinks that will add a different dimension to the offense. Donnie would know this as well, being such basketball fans as we were. I was big in believing that Jokic losing all that weight. Whenever a good, talented player gets in better shape, I think it's a positive. I don't think it's a negative. Not to say that Tua is going to become an MVP, but I do think, given that offense and how explosive they can be, if he can add a rushing or even a mobility or escapability element,
He's always had that a little bit though.
right. And so losing 25 pounds, I think it is a positive.
Yeah, it's a bit extreme, I think, to change your playing weight that much, but hey, it's a learning experience. He could easily put the 10 pounds back on if he wants to and just keep it at 15. We'll see. I will say Stetson Bennett is turning 27 in October. Bo Nix is only 24.
So. Yeah, Bo Nix isn't that old yet.
It's a college education difference.
Well, that's because Stetson Bennett kind of finished just yeah.
Stetson Bennett played like 7 years in college. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, any other news for you guys?
Nothing that's hot off the press aside from the stuff that we covered.
I mean, there's one bit of news that I think is going to affect the season potentially. I do think the Hassan Reddick holding out is a big deal for the Jets, and I don't think they're going to want to pay him $25 million. So I wonder how long that holdout is going to be.
Yeah, and they just traded him from the Eagles too.
Yeah, it was. They gave up a good amount for a guy they're not willing to pay apparently, because he wants to be paid like a top pass rusher. I'm not paying a 30-year-old top pass rusher money when he's only had one season where he's peak year.
That's my problem, though. You're going to give up that much assets, and you're not going to make sure he's healthy or not healthy. You're not going to make sure he's happy and at least content being on your roster before giving away all that much.
Yeah, I'm going to double down on like if I believe he was worth. I think it was a 3rd-round pick they gave up. I'm doubling down and signing him. I don't know what they were thinking.
Is it weird that I forgot he was an Arizona Cardinal?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
that's where he made his that's where he kind of made his mark, and it was like, oh, the Eagles are going to sign him on a prove it deal, and then he proved it.
Yeah,
and then he went to the Panthers.
That's probably one of my favorite quarterbacks, by the way, is Bryce Young. But that'll be in a couple of weeks when I do my own personal draft. You guys will probably see me taking Bryce Young. But speaking of which, I already mentioned off the top of the show, Gov will be not with us next week. He's in the process of doing some road tripping. So I thought it might be fun to give our best road trip advice to Gov on his way out. What's some must-have, go-tos, things that you guys got to do on a road trip?
What's the snack I need? What's the best shit I need for the drive?
I personally
have you guys even ever been on a long drive? I've already been on road trips on family vacations and that, where I've driven from Florida to Washington D.C. and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've driven cross country from California to Florida twice.
My road trips are kind of like I just want to bang it out, which you don't have the luxury of doing. But I always have at least a drink on hand. That's all I need. That's all I need. Make sure I have
Johnny underage drinking. Damn, always on hand. Jeez,
but
I didn't realize we were doing that. Shit.
That's always just a staple in my life. Having something to, I always have my Pepsi with us on the podcast.
I actually have a counter advice to that. It's you want to be efficient on the road. No one wants to make too many stops. So don't be the guy that drinks too much. Funny enough, because I had no idea what Donnie was about to say. But don't be the guy that brings 8 cases of water with him, who has to find every rest stop on the way to the damn place. No one wants to stop that much. So make sure you can hold your bladder a little bit. That would be my number one advice.
In a 13-hour drive, I would probably take 2 to 3 stops, and that's
okay. Fair. As long as your body can hold it.
I'm holding my bladder. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna need to go before, and I got 7 straight hours, no stops.
Yeah, that's what I try.
There is no 2 to 3 in a 13. There's maybe we stop once if I'm driving 13 straight hours.
Because I do not like to die.
Hold that shit. Pee yourself. I don't care. We're not stopping.
Hey, all right, Gov. If you run out of gas because you didn't want to stop in 7 hours, that's on you.
No, I'm kind of with Gov, though. I don't like to stop now.
Don't you drive an electric car? Those get great gas mileage. You can
I
drive way. Like,
I
how
drive a
far do you think you can
2007.
go in 7 hours?
I drive a 2007, man.
Hey,
Fair,
electric cars definitely get great gas mileage. You don't even need fucking gas.
But that's okay. Okay, if you have to stop, okay, fine, bathroom, right? Another thing, I hate the guy who wants to stop and have lunch at the rest stop. Don't do that. Don't be like, oh yeah, we need to stretch our legs, guys. We need to get out of the car.
Oh no. See that's gonna be my problem is fucking gas station food. Every time we stop for gas, I'm gonna be eating fucking tacos, there's taquitos,
Oh,
whatever's rolling on the.
No.
Actually, I'm a sucker for bad gas station pizza.
That's vile, man. That's vile.
Do not do it. You don't need the risk.
Ooh, look at the sushi in the jar.
No.
That's bad.
I
could
will
never
say-
do that.
Chicken salad sandwich.
Never.
I'm not participating in Gov's semantics there, but I will say at least he's going to the gas station, he's getting his stuff, and he's coming right out. I really do hate the guy who wants to like bird watch at the rest stop. I hate that.
I'm a
Don't-
firm believer the only person who can say I need to stretch my legs is the driver. Because, I mean, I get that. But, man.
No, I can't.
Hey, but listen, I don't use my cruise control enough, so that's why I get like that.
Evan,
Even
you
then,
got
like to have to concentrate for that long, you get that road hypnosis. The longest drive I've done one way is maybe 2 hours. So I'm not the best to ask about this, but road hypnosis is a real thing, and it just drive defensively like everybody else does. Don't tailgate. Don't feel like you have to rush to get there because you'll get there when you get there.
See, that's why I can't cruise control because I feel like I lose focus a bit. So I just rather do it myself.
Any other advice for the man, Evan? Any other good road trip advice?
Avoid the gas station food so you don't have to all of a sudden take a shit when you don't want to.
I can't wait till he sends an image of the gas station sushi to us.
And on that note, good night, everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna kick it to Double J. I know he's still watching, seeing if he has some things to go. Here's one thing: if you want to have a little fun, though, if you're traveling with other people, here's what you do.
Don't say I spy.
No, everyone in the car. You have to find out your favorite karaoke song, and you all have to sing that song, and then send it to the next car. That's the move right there.
Airdrop your karaoke to a car next to you.
Yeah, but you don't let them know you're doing it, and then just drop it, and then go past them as you're watching them get the message. That's the move.
I like it.
Yeah, I feel like.
Oh, and I need to do this as I enter West Virginia, playing country roads.
Yes.
And I can't wait.
I just airdrop it. That I wonder that should be like set up on the sign that says entering West Virginia, just to airdrop to every vehicle that comes in country roads to immediately.
Well, I mean, I
that
could
should
just
be like a
imagine
campaign
if
for
Gov's
West
singing
Virginia.
and does that, somebody's just.
Oh, I won't sing. I will kill someone.
Yeah,
I don't want
just
this. My
gonna end
brother's
up
already
crashing.
said he's going to try to time it. I'm dreading.
We need to
How
get some
can
more
I
work.
knock him out for a drive?
Bring the
How much melatonin is too much? Melatonin.
In all honesty, though, we're having fun. In all honesty, get back on Tuesday. We should have potentially, don't quote us on this, we should have some DraftKings salaries to talk about on Tuesday, perhaps when Gov gets back. That will start to be some fun. We are going to get together a schedule for the regular season. We're going to be trying to be a little bit more structured, where we give you guys actual things to look forward to throughout the week. So each of our show will have some structure during the NFL season. So you'll know when we're doing reviews, you'll know when we're doing lineup constructions, and we'll have more fluidity along the way. This has been a good show, though, guys. I really liked it. Anything else for the people?
Well, just have a safe drive, Gov.
And don't smoke that bong while you're driving.
Yeah, safe
Don't
practices
smoke
now.
while driving. You can't smoke a bong while driving.